President Obama has put in place new people and set a new deadline to get Obamacare on track. They've got 28 days to meet the November 30th target to fix all the problems that people have been facing to sign up for health care. But what does this say about the leadership at the White House and the president's legacy? Marc Lamont Hill is a CNN political analyst and professor at Columbia University. He's in New York. Good to see you. And Mercedes Schlapp is a former spokeswoman for President George W. Bush. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so the president says he's responsible for getting the website working efficiently. That, as we now learn, only 6 people enrolled on the first day. I wonder, Mercedes, do you think the president knew that before he said he'll get it done?
Well, we don't know. At this point, what we do know is that obviously it's been an embarrassing week for the president. The president is trying to make ground in terms of explaining why the launch was so dysfunctional, so messy, and the fact that he said he didn't know about the site. But it doesn't make sense when you think that it's his most important legislative accomplishment and really part of his legacy, and the fact that he wouldn't test drive it before it would go out to the public. So again, I think it's very disappointing to see what has happened with the president in him not really being the lead, Secretary Sebelius, to make sure that the system was ready October 1st, ready to take on the massive volumes, the 4.7 million people that viewed it the first day, but yet we only got 6 people to enroll that day. I mean, that's just, I think, an embarrassment for the president.
It really is a terrible embarrassment. I think everybody would agree on that one, Mark. Do you think the White House is seriously worried about the real feasibility of the president's law working at all? Not just in time, for these deadlines, but just period.
No, absolutely. First of all, everyone concedes that this is an extraordinary embarrassment. I don't concede that the president knew. He's not the webmaster in chief. There are people under him whose job it is to make this work. The buck stops with him, but I doubt that he knew it and still moved forward at the same pace and speed. As far as it being a sort of referendum on health care itself, no, I strongly disagree. Obamacare cannot be reduced to the website, and in many ways it already has been successful. All the people who were not in the health care line who are in it now, it's been successful for them. All of the people who now have pre-existing conditions that get covered, it's successful for them. The people who can now be covered up to 26, it's successful for them. Even the people who have been forced to take new plans that are now cheaper and actually fit consumer protection standards, it's better for them and it's functional for them. So Obamacare is working in many ways, but this website is a mess. The Obama administration has to get it right by November 30th, but I think they will. But I think it's extremely slippery logic to think that somehow because the website didn't work for the first 30 days or for the first few weeks, that somehow Obamacare doesn't work. And I would say to anyone who makes that argument, if the website had worked perfectly, would the right suddenly be saying, oh my God, Obamacare makes sense, universal health care is now a good idea? Of course not. It's not reducible to the website.
You think this just makes it easy, the fight on whether this health care plan really has merit has just been made easy for the naysayers?
Low-hanging fruit.
All right, so let's talk about legacy then. The president's legacy is defined in large part, likely, by this health care effort, and that's whether it's effective or not. So, Mercedes, is this White House, in your view, in trouble?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just this week he made the oversimplified statement, trying to defend his oversimplified statement that if you like your health care, you can keep it. Well, in fact, 10 million people are likely to lose their health care, the ones that they picked. And he called it, quote unquote, substandard plans. Well, for many of these people who did the research, they really thought that this was the best plan for their families. So again, this simplified statement of not necessarily being, I don't know if it's a misleading statement, I think is so discouraging for so many Americans who really picked their individual health care because they really thought it was the best fit for their family. So again, he's running into not only the website problems, but the credibility problems, which I think is impacting him personally. I mean, you look at the approval numbers, it's the lowest it's been. I mean, the NBC Wall Street Journal poll that came out had him at 42% approval. So again, I think this is hurting him personally. I think that he is having problems also with how his team is functioning. Obviously, there's divisions going on between the policy team and the political team in terms of decisions that were made and how he was rolling out his oversimplified statement
that's always
that
the case,
if you like it, the health care plan, you can keep it.
So, Mark, you see that approval rating. It has dipped. I mean, dangerously low for this president.
It's hovered in the 40s for months, though. It's not as as if he was in the 80s and it dropped to the 40s.
For a lot of reasons.
But do you think this overall, especially this, website, healthcare, debacle startup, I mean, that this is indeed impacting his legacy overall, Mark?
But I don't think it impacts the long-term legacy. I don't think I mean, 2 months ago, people would have said, this Syria thing is going to taint the presidency. No one's talking about Syria. 6 months ago, they would have said something else. We are in a 24-hour news cycle where everything is the most important thing at the moment, and then later on down the line, it's not. That's not to say that Obamacare won't be an index of President Obama's effectiveness as a president, but it won't be the website. In 3 months, no one will be talking about the website. But I have to refute this. Somehow President Obama was dishonest when he said, if you want your policy, you can keep it. Under the grandfather clause, people can keep the policies that they have. The people who can't keep policies are getting policies that are often cheaper and better. And people say, well, I want to make my individual choice. Yes, but there is something in this country called consumer protection. There are certain standards that we don't allow people to have, whether it's food, whether it's fuel efficiency, whether it's energy, whether it's housing. There are certain standards as a country that we don't allow people to live under. And in this case, many people had policies where they're paying $150 a month, but they had $5,000 deductibles, and they can only see a doctor once or twice a year. Now they're paying.
But it's their choice. And again, we're leading to higher premiums, and the fact that these policies are being canceled, and people really believed the president when they said, you can keep your health care plan, which is obviously not the case.
All right, we'll leave it there. I'm Marc Lamont Hill, Mercedes Schlapp.